Wait, you're still buying $8 jars of pickled beets when you could make 12 jars for close to the same price? Invest in canning jars that last many years. Let's go! These beauties came straight from my garden. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you the ridiculously simple method that turns dirt-covered beets into liquid gold. This old preservation technique is so addictive, my neighbors literally beg me for the recipe. But here's the kicker. Many people completely mess up one critical step that ruins the entire batch. We're talking about transforming these muddy root vegetables into crisp, tangy, restaurant-quality pickles that'll last a full year in your pantry. No fancy equipment, no complicated science, just pure garden-to-jar magic. Fair warning, once you taste these, you'll never go back to store-bought. My friends and family literally fight over the last jar. If you want to turn your beet harvest into the most requested item at every potluck, hit subscribe because this technique will change the way you may feel about them. At the end of the video, I will share my old-time recipe with you.
I'm Carol from Almost 2 Acres, and we're about ready to show you how to pickle some beets.
Before we get our hands dirty, let's talk about the science that makes this whole process work, because understanding the why will make you a much more confident canner. Raw beets are what we call low-acid foods. They have a pH above 4.6, which means they naturally create an environment where dangerous bacteria like Clostridium botulinum, the bacteria that causes botulism, can thrive. Now, normally, low-acid foods like plain beets require pressure canning at 240 degrees Fahrenheit to kill those heat-resistant bacterial spores. That's why if you wanted to can plain beets, just beets and water, you'd absolutely need a pressure canner. But here's where the magic happens. When we pickle our beets, we're adding enough vinegar, specifically 5% acidity vinegar, to drop that pH below 4.6. This acidification transforms our low-acid beets into high-acid food, which means we can safely use this much simpler boiling water bath method. The key is using the right ratio of vinegar to other ingredients. That's why we never, ever mess with the acid ratios in tested recipes. It's literally a matter of food safety. The USDA has done extensive testing to make sure that these ratios work every single time. Now let's talk beet selection. For the best results, you want beets that are 1 to 2 inches in diameter. These baby to medium-sized beets are going to be tender and perfect for pickling. These monsters over 3 inches, they can get fibrous and tough, so save those for roasting and juicing.
As you see, now I have cut the beets into about where I cut the tops off to about 1 inch, and I am going to scrub them with this scrub brush so that we can get ready to put them in the water to boil them. Okay, so I got done scrubbing up those beets. Boy, was the water dirty. And I got them separated into sizes that are quite a bit alike.
Now we're going to cook these babies. Cover them with boiling water and cook until they're tender enough that a knife slides in easily, but not to the point of mushy. I have found that smaller beets take 30 to 45 minutes and larger beets take an hour or longer. Just keep testing them now and then.
Now I am rinsing the beets and getting ready to pull off the skins. They look so pretty under there. It ended up being multicolored beets, so it's going to be very interesting.
Once they're cooked and cooled just enough to handle, those skins should slip right off. And look at that! The ugly duckling turned into a swan. So much prettier now. Now we slice them into 1/4-inch rounds, 1/2-inch cubes, or if you're small enough, leave them whole. This is where the real flavor magic happens, the pickling brine. And this is the part that makes our beets safe for water bath canning. For my favorite old passed down recipe, I need 5 1/3 cups of 5% acidity vinegar, 1.5 tablespoons of canning salt, 4 cups of sugar, and 4 cups of fresh water. Notice I said fresh water. We're not using the beet cooking water because we want to maintain that precise acidity level. I also will be adding some spices. Always use vinegar that's labeled 5% acidity. White distilled works great, but you can also use apple cider vinegar for a more complex flavor. Now here's where we can get creative with flavors. I add cinnamon and ground cloves to really pump up the flavor of those pickles. We combine everything in a non-reactive pot. That means stainless steel, enamelware, or nonstick. Never use copper, aluminum, or iron pots with acidic foods. They'll react and give you off flavors or even leach harmful compounds.
I got the sizes that were smaller in this pan, and then the larger sizes in this pan. And as they cook up, I'll check the first ones in about 45 minutes or so once they start boiling. I want them to be just not quite soft because I like my beet pickles to be firmer, not soft where they fall apart in the jar.
Now we're ready for the fun part, packing our jars. The jars should be hot and ready. Keeping them hot prevents thermal shock when we add that hot brine. Now we pack our hot beets and then add liquid to exactly ½ inch of headspace. This headspace is important. Too little and foods boil out, too much and we don't get a proper vacuum seal. I use my spatula to get out any trapped air by running it inside the jar along the edges. Wipe those jar rims with a damp paper towel. Any residue prevents a good seal. Sterilized lids go on and tighten these rings just fingertip tight. You want them snug but not cranked down. Air needs to escape during processing. Into the boiling water canner they go. Make sure you've got at least an inch of water covering those jar tops. We process for 30 minutes at sea level, but check that altitude chart added in the description because processing times increase with elevation. I know mine is higher than that. If you're between 1,000 and 3,000 feet, add 5 minutes. Between 3,000 and 6,000 feet, add 10 minutes. Above 6,000 feet, add 15 minutes. Water boils at lower temperatures at higher altitudes, so we need that extra time for safety. After processing, we lift these beauties out and let them cool completely. Set them on a towel and leave them alone for 12 to 24 hours. Then you should take off the rings and wipe the jars before storing. Now you have nutritious beet pickles that your family will actually want to eat. Thanks for joining me today at Almost 2 Acres. If you like my coffee drinking hippie vibe, please subscribe and bring your friends along. Until next time, let's get growing.